Hello. So in a previous video, I showed you how to make a male head from scratch and also showed you the skull and the male skull and how it affects the features of the face. In today's video, I'll show you the opposite gender, which is the female. And I'll show you the differences between the male and female skull and how does it affect the features of the female face. So let's bring the two skulls together. Okay, let's discuss some differences. So the first difference is that this skull is much bigger. I'm just kidding. Let me make it smaller. So the first difference, there are mainly three main differences. Let me show you. The first difference is the shape of the head. Okay. So if you move this back and you look at it from the side view, you'll see that the male head is very blocky. It's very flat in some areas. It slopes a lot. Whereas the female skull is very round. And you'll see this similarity throughout all of the other differences. The female skull is much smoother, whereas the male skull is very featureful. You get to see this bump over here, okay, which is not present in the female skull. It can be, it cannot be. There are so many males with feminine traits, so many females with masculine traits, and yeah, there's a variety. This is just an ideal situation. The second main difference, we covered the two differences. One was the head shape of the head. Then this was the featureful and the smoothness. The third main difference is the jaw area. Okay, so you can see if we look at it from the bottom, let me turn off the shadows. So you can see that the female jaw is much narrow. Okay, it's very narrow, and also the chin is very narrow. It's rounded, whereas the male chin is very blocky. It's flat, and also another very prominent difference is that the male jaw, it flares out. Okay, so if you look at it from over here, we have some sort of an angle like this. Okay, let me show you. It flares out. So not the line, the pen. Yeah, it flares out. Okay, whereas the female jaw, it's very linear. It just tapers in. And you might see this online if you look for the differences between the male and the female skulls. You'll see that the female cheekbones are much wider than the male cheekbones. It can be true, but it is also true because of the fact that the jaw is much thinner. The jaw is much narrow in the female. So this looks very wide in comparison. As you can see the differences in the faces over here. Okay. You might say that the cheeks are wider in the female, but that is also because of the fact that the jaw is much narrower. So it gives us the illusion that, okay, the cheeks are wider. And yeah, now we've covered the differences in the skull. Let's cover some differences in the heads. I'm really bad at this. Things are just flying around, but don't mind me. Okay, let's cover differences in the faces. So we just covered the differences in the skull. It's very similar in the faces. You can see narrow chin, narrow jaw, wider chin in the male, wider jaw in the male. Yeah. And also the features are much more subtle in the female. You can see the forehead. You can see the forehead of the male, very prominent, very sharp, very blockish. And another main difference is in the fat pads. Okay, so females have a lot of fat in this area. You can see over here. And often this fat also contributes towards this contour over here. Okay, you generally see a line in the females. I also have an example of realistic females. Let me show you. So you can see this line over here. You can see this some sort of a shadow. This is because of a lot of fat in this area. Females have a lot of fat in this area. Okay, you can also see it over here, very chubbyish, a lot of fat. You can see it over here. And yeah, generally this area in the females is very chubby. So I am using references for this video, for this demonstration, and the reference I'm using is just screenshots of this head. So if you want this head, you can check out the link in the description. It leads to my ArtStation store. You can also check out the course that I have that is on head sculpting, which is, I believe, it's the best thing that you can invest in right now. It's literally for beginners. I was struggling the same way you are 4 months ago, and I've just accumulated everything that I've learned, and it's the fast lane towards learning how to sculpt a head. Guaranteed. So let's hide this. Let's also hide this. And let's start sculpting our female face. Okay, so instead of just sculpting a female face and showing you the features, I wanted to give you some context in the differences and the skull, So yeah, so that you have a better understanding. Also, before sculpting, just make sure that our focal length is the same. So yeah, set your focal length to 100. This is good. By default, it's on 55. And the reason you want to do this, let me show you, is because if you have a lower focal length, you can see that, yeah, you have this sort of a distortion. You have this fish lens type of view. And the default view also has this. So the default 55 focal length also has this effect, this distortion. So in order to minimize that, we use 100. Okay, now you see the skull is looking very nice. Even if I zoom in, so yeah, make sure you have 100 focal length. Let me switch to my graphics tablet. I was using a mouse before. And let's start sculpting. Like I told you, I have this reference on my other monitor, which I am using. But in order to make things easy for you, and so that you can also understand the things that I'm doing, I'll keep this head and I'll keep this skull in the viewport, and I will explain my reasoning. I will show how I am reading the reference and also the reasoning behind the steps that I take. Let's just put them aside over here and let's dive in. Let's make a UV sphere. Let's go to sculpt mode. Let's turn on symmetry. Okay, all of my brushes are going to be here. So whatever's highlighted, it's the one I'm using, just in case that I forget to call out the brush or name the brush. You can read it over here. Okay, so I'm just going to use the move brush. Let's go to the front view, and I'm going to pull this down from the center and try to make some sort of a helmet shape. Okay, and then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to push it from the sides and pull it out from the front. Okay, so what this does is it gives you a flat area like this. Let's just shape it like a head. What I'm doing now is I'm just looking at the overall shape of the head, not trying to focus too much on the details. Just try to get a basic head shape. It is totally okay if you're not 100% accurate. Like, these proportions can always be adjusted. And like we discussed, we need to have a narrow chin and a narrow jaw. And also another thing you want to keep in mind, that always check the top view. So let's press 7, check the top view, and you need to have some sort of an egg shape like this. So an oval shape. So as it goes behind, it's gonna get wider. So let's pull this close. Also another mistake that I used to make is that I used to pull this out from the top. And this is a bad move. That is because you'll end up with a squarish face. I want you to note that the widest area of the skull is this part right here. Okay, it's above the ear right here, and that is towards the side of the face. Okay, it's not towards the top. So this is the widest area. Let me mark it over here, around here, and everything else is going to fall behind this. Everything else is going to be less wide than this, from the top, from behind. So just make sure. And also, if you're pulling it from the top view, wait for your brush to tilt. Okay, so when it tilts, now you're pulling it from the side. Let's go to the side view, and we have a really bad shape over here. So let's pull it together. And what I'm trying to capture now is this shape of the jaw. Okay, so just pull it and try to match the shape of the jaw. And like I told you, don't worry about it. Don't stress too much on likeness. I'm not going to be making a one-to-one copy of this because that's going to take a lot of time. But yes, I will make something similar. I will make a decent female head. Okay, and just try to match the shape of the head as well on the side. So this is very crucial. Whatever reference you're using, you should have, let me show you. You should have the front, side, third quarter, bottom, top. Get as many angles as you can, and also make sure that it is the same head, because that is a fair comparison. If you try to mismatch things as a beginner, yeah, it's not going to work. It's not a good idea, buddy. Because you'll be copying one feature from one head and another feature from another head, and then you'll just end up in a trap. It won't look well. It won't end well. Okay, now we have a basic shape, and the height and the width of the face is almost the same, like almost, approximately. It's never a fixed rule. None of the proportional rules are a fixed rules. Let's try to have this shape as well. Always take proportions with a grain of salt, because there are too many variations. Okay, now we have a decent shape. let's remesh. So just press Ctrl R. And I am assuming that you have watched the male head that I sculpted before, because I won't be explaining a lot of the remesh things or why it should be low poly, high poly. Just remember, as a rule of thumb, I try to squeeze out as much detail, and I would recommend you do that as well. And once you're satisfied and once you cannot proceed any further, then you should add more detail. Okay, from the bottom, I'm just checking the shape of the jaw, this shape. Okay, so just having that shape over here. Okay, and now we're off to a good start. Okay, what I want to do next is just mask an area for the neck. And though we won't be really focusing on the neck a lot, I'm just going to have an indication of the neck, just a little neck, because I also want to show you something else. Okay, a very common mistake that a lot of people do is that they do not account for this triangle shape over here. Let me show you. So you see this triangle shape right here. This is very important. And once you add the neck, you also need to add some clay over here. So I'm just going to use the clay strips brush to even this out. And now you can see I have this triangle shape. And the brushes, they don't really matter. I can use the clay strips brush. I can use the draw brush. Okay. Same result. I can use the clay brush. This isn't working. You can use the inflate brush. You can use whatever brush you want. The brushes don't matter. What matters is the result, the reasoning behind why you are doing this, what the feature that you want to add. Okay. Just add a bit clay over here. We have this triangle shape now. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add a bit more geometry. And do remember that there's no fixed rule of how much geometry should you have in every stage. Okay, if you're going to add the ear, you should have 5,000 vertices. Don't be that strict. This is very intuitive. Like I said, just add geometry whenever you feel you cannot proceed further. So I'm just masking an area over here for the ear. Just masking a bit of a blob, and then you can inverse it. The location of the ear is almost in the center of the face. Okay, and if you still forget it, just remember it's just behind the jaw. Okay, so this is the jaw. The ear is going to be just behind this. Let's pull it out, and pull it out more than you think. Okay, now what you want to do is try to capture this sort of a C shape, but don't focus on this right now. Just try to get a C shape like this. If you feel like you cannot move vertices around, just smooth a bit, and then you can move vertices again. Okay, so I'm trying to get this C shape. So it starts low, it comes up high, it curves, it goes down, comes closer, and then goes back up again. Now once you have the shape, go to the side view. Now pull this behind and try to have a similar shape over here as well. The same shape that you created in the front view. Okay, and now just go back to the front view again. Now you want to pull this in, bring everything close. Okay, this sets you up for a very good basic shape of the ear. Nice. Let's clear the mask. Now what you want to do is you want to add this cheekbone. Okay, you can also see it over here. So this is covered by a lot of fat in this reference, but yeah, we still need to add this. Okay, we need to add this cheekbone. So just use the draw brush, because this gives you very smooth tubes, very smooth. Yeah, it adds clay in a very smooth fashion. And where is the cheekbone? So if you notice, it starts around the middle, the ear hole. Okay, and then it comes down at an angle. Now right here, where this cheekbone is, right here would be the ear hole. Okay, so you see, this is the ear hole, and this is where the cheekbone is. So just imagine that your ear has an ear hole. It's almost in the center of the ear. And now you just want to draw like this. Okay, come down at an angle. And what I like to do also is to dig a bit below the cheekbone and then come down as well, like this. So you have the shape. Now just smooth it, subtly smooth it. Okay, so we've hinted the cheekbone. Right now, our main focus is just to get in the features. We can always adjust the proportions later. Now I want to make the eyes, and I don't think I have enough geometry. Let's add more geometry. By the way, the shortcut for this is R. And if you're using an older version, then I think it's Shift R, or you can just set your value over here. So click on this remesh button, and then you can set the voxel size here. Okay, let's go to the front view. And now I want to dig the eyes. So where are the eyes? Eyes are located almost in the center of the face. Okay. So let's just roughly mark the center. This is the center. Let's make eye sockets. Okay. Don't make them too big. Don't make them too small. What you're trying to create is these orbits of the skull. Okay. Just create them. And what you want to do now is go to the side view. And how deep is this? This actually depends. So I'm just using this as a reference, and you can see it's almost 1/3 deep inside. I'm just comparing here till the ear. Okay. And you can see it's almost 1/3, almost a bit more, I guess. So yeah, just use it as a reference. And like I said, just don't take this too seriously. It's totally okay. Now what I'm doing here is I'm making this dip over here. Okay. So you see this dip. You also see this dip over here. Now some people have it very straight. Some people have it very curved. Excuse me. So yeah, just look at your reference. Just look very close at your reference. Okay. So my reference has a dip inside. So I'm going to have this dip as well. Okay, just look at your reference. Your reference is literally the answer sheet to everything. Okay, what we're going to do next is we're going to make some cavity over here. Why? Because you see, we have this cavity in the skull. This part, it's a cavity. And we want to have it in our head as well. So just use the clay strips brush. Now you want to dig along the nose area. On this corner of the eye, you want to dig down and away. Okay, down and away. And then you want to smooth. Also, if you notice the cheekbone right here, it's too protruded. This is too forward. Whereas if you look at the actual skull, the cheekbone is behind the eye. Okay, it's behind the eye. So this is the eye orbit and it's right here. Okay, this over here is going to be covered in fat. But if I was to draw the cheekbone over here, it would have been something like this. Something like this. Okay, this would have been the cheekbone. This is the orbit of the eye. Yeah, you get the point. So let's push this behind as well. Just use the clay strips brush to push this behind as well. Okay, and we want to bring it close to the eye. Just dig down and away, and then push the cheekbone as well. And then you smooth. Let's also dig a bit more over here. And then smooth. So sculpting is going to be a lot of adding features and then smoothing them. Let's smooth this a bit as well. This is too pointy. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the chin area. So nothing what I'm doing is set in stone. These are not fixed steps. You can always go to the nose, go to the chin. But I'm just adding features that I think I can in this stage. So I'm going to make this chin area, this dip in the chin area. You see, it goes in. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to use the draw sharp brush. And then I'm going to dig in this cheek area or chin area. Okay, so just dig like this and then go up just a bit. Okay, and then smooth. Smooth. After everything, just smooth. Okay, now let's work on the nose a bit. So where is the nose? Let's see. The nose is almost, if you draw a line over here on the eyebrow area, and then if you draw a line in the bottom of the chin, and then you connect those lines, the nose is almost halfway. Let me draw it for you. So this is the eyebrow area. This is the chin area. Let's connect these two lines. And in between these two lines, right here would be the bottom of the nose. Okay. So let's just use the draw sharp brush. Let's carve this in a bit. I'm just making something like this. And then I'm going to use the clay strips to just add some clay over here. And then let's go to the side view. And let's pull this out. Very easy. And try to keep in mind this shape, just the silhouette. Okay. And an important thing that you need to know about the nose, I'm just tapering this a bit. Important thing that you need to know is that the nose sets quite deep inside the face. Okay. So this is a very common mistake that people make noses like this. So this is the nose. They'll just make the nostril round here. This is on the surface of the mouth. It doesn't happen this way. A real nose, it comes down like this and then it sets deep in the face. Okay. Round here. This is where the nostril would be. So if you look at the reference over here, you can see that the nostril goes quite deep in the face. If this is the surface, this is how deep the nostril goes. This is also evident if you look at this from the bottom view. Okay. The middle of the nose is right here, but the nostrils, they go quite deep inside the face. Okay. A very important detail. So what you want to do over here is to just push the nose in. Push it in. Push it in. Okay. Push the edges of the nose inside the face. Like this. Nice. Let's work on the mouth area. So just bulk this up because the mouth is really round. Okay. Everything in the face is very round. If you look at this from the bottom view, you can see that this is very round. Or this is round. This is a bit round. It's a bit flat over here, but it is round. This is round. You can see the eyes, they are round, very round. Okay, so everything in the face is going to be round. Just make sure you look at it from the top view and the bottom view and make sure that this has a good curvature all around. So we just bulked up an area for the mouth, but we cannot really make the mouth because we do not have enough geometry. Move aside. Yeet. So let's add a bit more geometry. And let me show you an easy way to make the mouth. But first, let's see where is the mouth in the first place. So where is the mouth? If you draw a line in the bottom of the nose, in the bottom of the chin, right in the center is going to be the bottom of the lip. So if the bottom of the lip is here, the center of the lip is going to be a bit above, right? Yeah. So just dig a bit over here. But you see, I cannot dig. I don't have enough geometry. Let's add a bit more geometry. And then dig, 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 dig. I think this is a bit too high. So you can break the proportions sometimes, but yeah, I'm just going to make the lips a bit lower because I felt that it was too high. Let's go to the front view. This is the center. Yeah, I think this is okay. So see, I'm not really measuring it with a ruler or something. It's just, I'm just eyeballing these proportions and they work. So I'm just going to move this up a bit. Okay, I just made a crease and now I'm just shaping this like the upper lip. So the upper lip is shaped like a M. You can look at your reference. Okay, the upper shape is shaped like an M. So that is what I'm trying. The center is also a bit of an M and the bottom is like flat over here and then it has two lines on the side. Let's make that. Just make the upper lip. Also smooth this a bit because it felt like a lump. Also, what you want to do is make a dip above the upper lip. Okay, so we're making this dip over here. And then smooth a bit. I do not know what these things are called, and you don't need to know them either. Anatomy is not about knowing the names. You're not a doctor, you're an artist. What you need to remember is the shapes and how they look like and why do they look this way. So yeah, you can focus on the names, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm just digging this in and then smoothing it. And what you want to do for the lower lip is just use the clay strips brush and then push this edge in. Okay, just push this edge inside. And also remember that the lower lip is gonna be behind the upper lip. Okay, if you look at the reference, the lips, they have an angle. And you need to have this in order for it to look good. Let's have this angle. So the easy way you can do this is just mask this area. Mask, 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 mask. Invert your mask, go to the side view, and then you can push this behind. Okay, right now we don't have a very good looking lower lip. So what you can do is take the draw sharp brush and then dig below. Okay, just below. This. dig like this, and then, yeah, get this shape, okay? And then you want to smooth. And on the lower lip, you can use the draw sharp brush to emphasize this area a bit more. Just remember that do not focus on the lower lips like this. Don't make them like this. They're not really like this. If the upper lip, let me show you on the reference. The lower lip is actually less wider than the upper lip. Okay. If you look at the upper lip, it is this wide. If you look at the lower lip, it is this wide. The upper lip is gonna overlap a bit of the lower lip. Okay. You see it over here? It overlaps a bit of the lower lip. The lower lip is starting right here. So you want to keep that in mind. Okay. And when you add the lower lip, just sharpen it on this area. Don't sharpen it on the crease. The creases are very flush. Okay. They're pretty flush over here. So just focus on this area. And then you have good looking lips. Okay. Now this is very low poly and that is totally okay. I'm just doing it for the sake of this tutorial. And this is also how I sculpt anyways. You don't want to add so much detail because it's going to make everything else difficult. Let's focus on the ear now. Let's push this down. Let's give it the proper shape that we discussed. Like remeshing it, it does destroy some of your mesh if you're at a very low value, and it's totally okay. It is a very common mistake to think that the higher the resolution, the better, but it's not. It's more geometry to sculpt with. It's more puzzles to solve. So think of it this way. Okay. And now how do you want to make the ear? So for the ear, just use the draw sharp brush and then mark this 9 pattern. Okay. You mark this 9 and you complete this 9 on the outside. Okay. On the outside. And then you want to dig this area. Really dig it. Okay. And then you remesh again. So whenever you run out of geometry, just remesh so that it redistributes everything. And then you sculpt again. Okay. Now this is very less geometry. Let's add a bit more. Okay, so sculpt in this area. And what I'm making over here is this flap. Now this ear is not really nice. I did this in a rush, but I'm going to give more love and attention to this. So what you want to focus on is having this 9 pattern, this pattern over here, and this Y pattern over here. Okay. This is very important. You want to have this ear canal and you want to have this flap thingy covering the ear canal. So let's make that. Just dig this in. And now what you want to do is dig this entire area in. Okay. Like this. I used to find the ears the most complicated things to sculpt, but yeah, now it's the simplest. I love this approach. So just sculpt this in as well. Okay. So you're making a cavity inside the cavity you just made. Just make sure that you're not pushing it too much. That is coming out over here. Other than that, it's totally okay. Okay. So you have the shape and then you dig over here. Like I told you, we have the ear canal. So just dig, dig, dig. If you run out of geometry, just remesh once and then dig, 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 dig. This is a lot of digging. Dig, 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 dig. And now you see, you have this flap. So just simply pull this flap out. Very simple. And then you smooth this. Okay. So there you have it. A very easy method to make the ear. What you want to notice is that this 9 shape, it goes inside and behind this flap thingy. Okay. So just use the draw brush. Now you want to continue this 9 over here. And then smooth. Add it, smooth it. Smooth. Okay, I'm just pushing this in a bit more. And now I told you that we have a Y shape as well. So how to make the Y shape? But before that, let's just push this part in. This is going to be very deep. Let's remesh once. Push, 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 push. Now you see that this is low poly and it is very easy to manipulate these shapes. Now, how do you make the Y? For the Y, you just smoothen this area so that it's a bit more flat. Okay, you smoothen this. And then on the edge, just on the edge, just make a dimple. Very simple dimple. And then smooth. So you subtly hint this Y shape. Easy. Now these, the rim of the ear, they feel very thin to me. So let's just use the inflate brush. Let me save this in case I crash this. So just use the inflate brush to make this thicker, to make this rim thicker. You want to imagine some sort of a mushroom shape. You want to imagine, let me show you. Let me just make this flatter and then I'll show you. Inflate this area, make it more thicker, and then remesh. Okay, so think of it this like this way. You have this shape. Okay, let me draw this with the mouse. I don't know why this doesn't work with the pen tablet. Okay, draw the shape. You have this cylinder, and then you have a bigger cylinder on top of it. You've extruded some of it. Okay, this is how you want to imagine the ear. Also, what I can do is just push in this area with the draw sharp brush. Push, 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 push. Okay, like I told you, you should imagine a cylinder and then you've extruded the edges, the outer faces of the cylinder. Easy. Now the ear is very big, but I will adjust it when I have the rest of the features as well. Okay, let's work on the nose a bit more. Let's bring it over here. And the nose, I want you to notice that this part of the nose, it's very deep. Okay, and you can actually touch it over here. So if you look at your own nose, look at me, look at me. So you can actually touch behind your nostril. Okay, it is very deep. It's not attached to the surface. You can actually touch behind it. So in order to, so yeah, keeping that in mind, and in order to incorporate that in our design, we just want to dig over here. Okay, dig a lot. Dig over here and then come out a bit. And then don't smooth here. You want to smooth around this. Okay, so that you maintain this shape. And then you dig, 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 and then you smooth around it. Okay, if you smooth on it, it's going to smooth everything. So don't do that. Yeet. I zoomed in too much. Let's just smooth this a bit. Dig, 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 and then smooth around it. You can also use the crease brush to crease in this area a bit more. Okay, and now you see, we're starting to have this shape over here. Just remesh once. You can also pull this out using the draw sharp brush, this nostril part. Okay, and dig behind it. Let's make the nostrils. Let's first shape it better. Yeah, we're gonna have this puffy area for the nostrils, and then this is gonna be a bit flat. We will adjust this later. But you just want to have this sort of a shape. Okay, let's dig a bit over here as well, and then smooth this area around it. Okay, let's have a look at our reference. You see, this area is much more puffy. Let's make it more puffy. Okay, and we can adjust the proportions later, but let's get the ear in, the nose in first. So I just remeshed once so that I have a equal distribution, and then just make the nostrils. But yeah, let's add a bit more geometry. Okay, let's smooth the, let's dig over here, dig the nostrils, and it's almost like a bean shape. Okay, just imagine this bean shape and try to maintain an even thickness around the nose. Also make sure that you don't sculpt in this area because it's not really in contact with the mouth itself. There is some sort of a rim around the nose. Okay, so just remember that. Let's undo, let's remesh, let's dig, smooth, dig, smooth, dig, smooth, dig. And you can see that we don't exactly have symmetry. Okay, so we have this triangle over here, this something, we don't have it over here. So what you can do is just click on this drop down and then press symmetrize. Okay, this is going to happen a lot during your sculpt. So yeah, just symmetrize whenever you see this. Okay, so we have this basic shape. Now what? Let's smooth this part a bit. Now what you want to do is just take the draw sharp brush and then dig the nostril up and towards the tip of the nose, just like this. Okay, so we have this shape. And what you want to do now is pull out over here, make the nostrils a bit more thicker and then smooth. Also, what I like to do is to just add in a ball over here. Okay, so we're making the nasal cartridge now. Just make the ball over here, smooth it a bit, and then use the scrape brush to make two planes over here. Okay, just like this. And then smooth everything very subtly. Okay, you see, we have these two planes over here. We have this sharpening over here. And now we have the basic features in. Let's just adjust the proportions now. Let's move the behind of the nostrils inside. Let's make the nose a bit thinner. This is too wide of a nose. Let's push this inside. And let's smooth a bit. Okay, let's compare it from the side view. We don't see a lot of the nostril like this. So let's pull it up. And you see everything you're doing wrong. The answer to that is your reference. So just compare it with your reference. Whenever you're confused about what am I doing wrong, why is it not looking like the reference, just look at the reference. Let's fill in this area a bit more. Okay. And just try to shape it as best as you can to your reference. You can always load this image, trace it over your reference. But yeah, we're not going to go that far. We're just going to learn how to make a good female face. Okay, much better. Now let's make crease around here so that we have a better, better thickness around the nostril. So just use the draw sharp brush and then pull this out. And when you do that, just smooth. You see the difference that it made? Just add it and then smooth it. And also for this cartridge, this thingy, just dig a bit here and then pull it out using the draw sharp again, like this, and then smooth. Very, very easy. Add in and then just smooth. I'm just adjusting the shape a bit. Okay, you can see that this pushes in. I think we lost the rim. Yeah, we lost the rim. So let's add the rim again. Let's use the draw brush, whatever brush. Let's add a bit more geometry. And then let's remove it first. Just dig in, remove the rim. Let's make it flat. And then what you want to do is use the clay strips brush and then make the rim. But make sure that the rim goes inside the nose, okay? Like this. Because that is how the nose actually is. It has this spiral sort of shape. Okay? Just add this rim and then make it go inside the nose. And also make this a bit more prominent, like this. Okay, so we have the nose in as well. Nice. All we're left is with the eyes and just to add some fat around the cheeks and then we'll be good to go. What happened with the ears? Okay, no, never mind. We'll make it again. It's okay. Okay, so let's make the eyes a bit. Or maybe let's focus on the mouth first. So just use the crease brush and then as soon as you crease this area, it's automatically going to look much better. Okay, and then we also have a lot of muscle around the corner of the lips. Okay, so that's why you're going to see this bulge right over here. And to make that, just use the clay tips brush and then add this bulge. It is not going to be present all the time, but it's always a good idea to add it and then smooth it so that even if it's not present, you have subtle forms that hint this. Okay, and then just use the crease brush and then crease around here and on the edge. Okay, and then smooth. So after every operation, just smooth. Okay, and then just make sure from the bottom that the lips are round. Okay, you see, very round. Also, just make sure that it looks like she's semi-smiling. So just pull the corner of the lips down so that you have a much more neutral expression. Just making sure everything is round. Okay, for the top lip, it's recommended that you sharpen this area and then smooth. And for the bottom lip, don't sharpen it like this. Don't do this. Just subtly in this, dig here a bit. Then if you want to sharpen, just sharpen this area. Okay, do this very subtly, very subtly. So we have the lips. Also notice that the lips over here are very full. In order to do that, just use the clay tips brush. And then you can sculpt the lips over here. Okay, it just makes them a bit more fuller. I like them this way. Just make the lips a bit more fuller. Okay, this is also something that is going to differentiate man from a woman. If you look at the male head that we have over here, you see, the lips are not that full. They're pretty angular, and that is a very masculine quality. But females, yeah, they look good with fuller lips, plump lips, very attractive. Let's also dig in this area again. Dig, smooth, unless you have something that looks good. I think this is too protruded, so just push this in a bit. Okay, good. Let's work on the eyes now. So the way you want to make the eyes is that you need to remember that the eyes have an eyeball, they have the eyelid, and then a very important feature is that they have the orbit covering the upper eyelid. Okay. Oh, not orbit, fat. So you're going to have a lot of fat in this area. Okay, this is all fat. So the way you make eyes, you just imagine making an eyeball. Just make an eyeball. Smooth it. And then cover this with fat. So just use the clay tips brush to cover this area with fat. Okay, and then smooth again. Now what you have is some basic shape for the eyes. We don't have fat over here, so let's just add fat over here. Just add a lot of clay over here. Like females are going to be chubby in this area. They're going to have a lot of fat. So just add fat and then smooth. Okay, a lot of fat. And now you see, it automatically improves the lady a lot. Now the jaw shape isn't really looking good. Neither is the chin. We will fix this later. So let's look at the front view. Let's move the eyes a bit. Now, how do you make the eyes? Very simple. Just make sure you have this sort of a curvature. Okay. And also another thing to remember is that just like the lips have an angle. The eyes also they have an angle. The upper eyelid is going to be ahead of the lower eyelid. Okay, so just try to making some sort of a block out for the eye. Just making a round shape because we have the eyeball. And once you have this round shape, it's going to be much easier to add the detail. When you add the detail after this, yeah, they're just going to follow the shape that you already made. Just make a round shape like this. Check it from the bottom. Check it from the side. It should go in a bit. This part should go in. Okay, this looks good. Oh, I think something went in my eye. Just a sec. Okay. Let's take the draw sharp brush. Now what you want to do is dig a bit over here. Let's remesh so we have equal distribution. And now remember, like eyes, they just require the most amount of information. So it's a good idea to sculpt them at the end. Also, you want to dig a bit over here like this and then smooth it. This gives a very good silhouette when you look at it from the third quarter view. Okay, see? Just making this part over here, this dip. So just crease in or use the draw sharp brush, push this in, then smooth. Very, very easy. And now to make the eye, just go to the front view and use the draw sharp brush in inverse, hold control, and then make the eye shape that you're trying to create. I'm just making a generic eye. Okay. Just pushing this in. Just make a generic eye. Okay. So you have this eye. And now what you want to do is to push in this part and push all of this socket in. Okay. So dig it deep. Make a cavity over here. We're going to replace this with the eyeball so that we have accurate curvature on the eye. And also remember that the upper eyelid, it overlaps the lower eyelid. So dig it a bit over here and then hold control and pull the upper eyelid up. Okay. Make it overlap the lower eyelid. Let's just push this in. And let's make an eyeball. So just use a UV sphere. Go to the front view. Scale this down. And I want you to notice that the eyeball itself is going to be a bit smaller than the eye. So if you look at the eye is this wide, whereas the eyeball is this wide. Okay, you just need to cover the whole inside. Okay, it's going to be a bit smaller. Then go to the side view and bring your eyeball in front. Like I told you, it's going to have an angle. So don't place it exactly in the center because then you need to match it one by one. You need to match it like this. Obviously. Okay, this is going to be the eyeball and you won't have that angle. You need to have this angle. So to have this angle, just move the eyeball a bit above. Okay. And now you see, you can easily make this angle. Put a bit above. Let's go to the front view. Let's see. Okay, nice. And now what you want to do is just wrap your eyelids around the eyeball and try to maintain an equal thickness all around. See? Also what you can do, let's shape it a bit better, is just use a scrape brush to flatten this area. It gives your eyelid a bit more thickness, a bit more evenness. It looks really cool. Just scrape this area, scrape it on the upper eyelid as well, bit over here as well. Use the draw sharp and then let's mark this crease. So see, you have really good looking eyes. Also this area, it's not gonna be so sharp. What this area is basically this orbit of the eye. And you need to include this. Okay, so it's not gonna be like this. Just use the clay strips brush to reshape this. Add a bit more clay over here around it. Add a bit more fat. And then smooth. Okay, so you are going to have the shape. Smooth, 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 smooth. Okay, the features in the female are gonna be very, very subtle. Okay, also we can use the crease brush to just tighten this area a bit more. Just a bit. Okay, if you make this area too creased like this, okay, your character is gonna look old. It's gonna look much mature. You don't want that. So just be very gentle with this. Just push the nostril a bit ahead so that we have this smooth line over here. Okay, and I think there is some sort of a dip over here. Yeah, so just add a bit more clay over here and then smooth. Okay, a bit more clay and then smooth. Like I told you, the features in the female are gonna be very subtle, and make sure everything is curved, everything is round. Okay, just make sure to check your sculpt from every angle. Nice. Let's duplicate this eye. So just use the mirror modifier. And we have a pretty good basic shape. Let's just adjust the jaw a bit because this is very round. I don't like this. Let's go to the side view. And you see, we have an angle over here, but we don't have an angle over here. Let's move this behind a bit. Okay, I think we can dig a bit over here. Or we can maybe add a bit more clay over here around the chin area. And then just dig a bit over here. And then smooth. Okay, let's push this in a bit. I'm just trying to get a better shape over here. Okay, much better. Oh, move aside. Oh yeah, we have to work on the ear again. And now, once we have the features, you can actually also see the size of the ear. So it should match the bottom of the nose and the eyebrow area. Okay, so our ear looks good, but I'm just going to make it a bit smaller because it looks a bit more cute. It's a bit more attractive. It just looks a bit bigger to me. Okay, let's move this in. Let me just quickly add in the details for the ear again. I don't know why this happened, how this happened. Just quickly add it. Make it a bit smaller. Okay, nice. And just a trick that I want you to use. If you think that your female is not looking good or if you're uncertain, just add a bit of makeup. I actually learned this trick from Speed Chart from Nico. And that is because we're so used to seeing females with makeup that, yeah, it's a bit odd to see our sculpt like this. So just add a bit of a makeup. And you see just a bit of a shadow around the eyes. Added a lipstick, a bit of some blush on. And then also draw in the eyebrows because eyebrows are very important for a female, also for a male. But yeah, see, as soon as we add in those features, you can see that this is looking a very attractive female. Okay. And as soon as I remove this, you see, if I press Ctrl M, see the difference. So it makes a lot of difference. So whenever you're unsure, just add a bit of a makeup, see how your female looks like, and then you'll have a better idea. So what I want to do now is have a bit of a sharper jaw like this. It is looking very attractive. Just I'm going to wiggle this a bit. Just wiggle a bit. Okay. Just push a bit up and then pull down. Okay. You're going to start to see some definition. Okay. This is going to work. I promise you. I cannot explain how I'm doing this, but yeah, just to wiggle around and you'll see it yourself. You'll see it yourself. Let's move this up. This is too sharp for my taste. Let's just improve the shape a bit more. And then just subtly, smooth. Very subtle. Okay. I just pulled out the chin, made it a bit flatter because it was too pointy. But also I'm making sure that it is narrow. Okay. Don't pull it from here. It's going to be a wide chin. It's going to look very masculine. Just a bit. Very subtle. And there you have it. You have a female face. Okay. And one more thing that you can do that I like to do is I told you that they have a line over here below the cheek, below the fat. So just use the draw brush and then carve this area in a bit. Okay. Hold control, push this in very subtly and come down. Okay. She's looking like a skeleton. Let's try again. Very subtle and then smooth. Smooth. Smoothing is very important. Smoothing is your friend. Smooth. Okay. There you have it. This is how you make a female face. Yeah, also I wanted to show you that don't stress too much if your shape isn't really looking good. Like you can spend as much time adjusting once you have the features, you just need to move them around. This was actually what I sculpted before this. Okay. So I practiced for this tutorial a few times. This is what I sculpted before. I didn't really like it. So I deleted the recording, but now it looks rather decent to me. Yeah. And see, once you add makeup, it just looks a lot better. Yeah. Don't stress too much about this. I just didn't want to show you 15 minutes, 20 minutes of me fixing things, moving things. I have a separate video on how to fix your head. So yeah, you can check that out as well. But don't stress too much, okay? Just keep sculpting. Just keep trying to match it with your reference. Just keep trying to add in the features that you want. If it doesn't work, try again, try again. It's totally okay. Your sculpt is going to be bad. Art is always going to be a continuous process of fixing your mistakes, okay? It's never going to look perfect from the get-go. You're never going to have the perfect proportions. No one has them. So yeah, don't stress too much about it. Let's just add a bit more makeup. If you're serious about this, if you want to take this more seriously, I have a course in the description that you can look at. Basically, I teach you about everything. We start off from the skull, we get into the basic shapes, and we work our way with the male head. We make a female head. We see the differences. We also morph that character into different races. You get to study the Asian eye, the Asian face, the African face. Yeah, it is a full-length course. It will really help you. It will set you on the fast lane of learning how to sculpt. So check the link in the description. I'm sure you will like it. If you want to join my Discord community, you can also find the link in the description. It will lead you to my Discord community, where basically I talk a lot about self-improvement and also how to be productive, how to be consistent with your practice and everything. I also have a weekly call over there, where if you have any issues, you can come and discuss them with me. But do keep in mind, I try to keep it a very active community. If you be idle there, if you stay idle, if you do not participate in anything, I kick those members out. So yeah, this was a tutorial on how to make a female head. Subscribe if you like to see more tutorials like this, or if you like to see the self-improvement videos. I'll see you around. Goodbye.